Welcome back to Clue Me In, where we unravel the world's strangest mysteries, disappearances, unsolved crimes, and eerie cases that leave more questions than answers. I'm Liv.
I'm Kay.
And I'm Grace. I wish I could say I studied for this, but I'm just gonna wing it.
Every episode, Kay and I break down a mystery, and Grace reacts, theorizes, and ultimately delivers her definitive answer.
Today's case is the strange story of the Pollock sisters, who seem to recall memories that belonged to their older sisters who died before they were born.
I'm stressed already.
Well, buckle up because this one has layers, so let's get into the story.
Ooh, okay.
So the story starts in Hexham, England. The Pollocks were a normal enough family, John and Florence. They had 4 sons. They had 2 daughters, Joanna and Jacqueline.
So on May 5th, 1957, the girls were getting ready for church when their friend Anthony came to walk them. It was a total normal Sunday, the kind where, nothing unusual is supposed to happen.
But it's going to. I can sense it.
You're learning. So as the 3 children were walking toward the church, a green car suddenly veered across the road. It jumped the curb and it slammed into them. The impact pinned all 3 of them against a brick wall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Joanna, who was age 11, and Jacqueline, who was age 6, died instantly. And Anthony, who was 9, also passed away while he was on his way to the hospital. Yes, very sad. And the driver, a woman named Marjorie Wynn, had taken a mix of substances and intentionally crashed her car into the moment of, spiraling grief and revenge after
Wait, she did it on purpose?
Yes, because she had just lost her daughter in a custody battle.
Whoa.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah. So obviously, Anthony's family and the Pollock family were completely devastated. They were Catholics, and Catholicism was everything to the Pollocks. But there is still just no way to make sense of grief like that. Yeah.
So then 8 months after the accident, Florence found out that she was pregnant. And at first, since losing... Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes. So at first, since losing Joanna and Jacqueline, the family had finally felt a spark again because of it.
She hadn't planned on getting pregnant. This wasn't something they talked about. In fact, they weren't expecting to have more children at all. So when she told John, he took it as this almost symbolic sign. He was already convinced that something bigger was going on spiritually here.
Yeah. So to confirm that, thinking that something bigger was happening, it wasn't just one baby. Nearly a year and a half after losing both of their girls on October 4th, 1958, Florence gave birth to identical twin daughters.
No!
Jillian and Jennifer. And Grace, we know how much you love the twins.
Identical twins. That is where I draw my line.
This episode was specifically for you.
No! It was creepy, and then you said identical twin girls.
So everyone around them instantly noticed how unusual this was. Neither side of the family had a history of twins, and the whole pregnancy, the doctors and everyone, and they thought it was one child, and they only ever heard one heartbeat. So when they had twins, people were shocked.
As they should be.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. And
no offense to any identical twins out there. This is just my personal thing.
My goodness. So John, the dad, had this feeling that he genuinely believed that these twins were a sign that Joanna and Jacqueline were somehow coming back to them. So here's where things get insanely weird. So Jennifer was born with 2 distinctive birthmarks. One was on her left hip, exactly where Jacqueline had a large birthmark, and the other was right above her right eye, the exact same spot where Jacqueline once had a noticeable scar from her childhood.
So
for listeners, Grace is silent, shaking her head.
But it was not just the marks. As the twins grew, they actually started talking about Hexham, which was the small town where Joanna and Jacqueline had lived and died. So even though the twins moved away with their parents when they were just babies, they described it in like detail that no one had ever told them before.
Like details. So they would bring up things like the shape of the river and the layout of the
wow.
streets, and even details about like the old house their sisters were in. And their parents were baffled because like the twins had never been shown pictures. They have not even been like told about the town from them.
Wow.
So during a visit back to Hexham when they were about 4 years old, they shocked their parents by like pointing out landmarks that they hadn't seen before, the school their sisters attended, and then like the very specific playground where Joanna and Jacqueline used to play.
Freaky.
Yeah, so when they took them to the playground, Jillian and Jennifer ran straight to the particular slide and swing set, which was the same one their older sisters used to play on. Even more uncanny, they recognized old neighbors and family friends that they have never met.
Like names?
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
Yeah.
were the older sisters twins too?
No.
Oh, okay.
One was 11, one was 10.
Oh, okay.
I think
they-
6.
6,
I
okay.
think they
Oh,
were
okay.
like
Oh,
pretty...
it was Anthony who was 9.
Yeah, Anthony
Yes,
was
okay.
9.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And when neighbors like saw them and met them, they were shocked too because they said like that the twins even looked like Joanna and Jacqueline and like it just mimicked their mannerisms and like used phrases that their sisters would use.
Yeah, so like one neighbor, specifically Mrs. McBride, said Jennifer waved her in a way that only Joanna had used to do, and she called her Mrs. M, like Joanna always did. It was like she was living in like an echo.
And
I don't like this.
so the more that the twins talked, the more their parents started wondering, like, okay, like maybe Joanna and Jacqueline's spirits or memories had somehow passed on to them.
Okay, so since we know you're loving all of these creepy details, Grace, here's another one. So when Florence finally brought out the old toys that she carefully stored away after losing her daughters, the twins instantly recognized them, but they also called the dolls the exact same names that Joanna and Jacqueline used to call them, Mary and Susan. And they specifically chose the ones that belonged to Joanna and Jacqueline without any prompting from the parents.
Wow.
So no confusion, no arguing over which toy was whose. They just like knew. And up until then, like Florence had held on to like some skepticism about all of this, but this like really was something that she felt like she couldn't explain the
Wow.
connection between them and the older sisters.
Which, like, to some degree, that is kind of cute. Like, but then it's kind of, it's like, they're not their own people.
Yeah.
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 But I mean, I think it's just also creepy because it's not like, I mean, you expect, I mean, I have nieces, you have nieces, you have nieces. Like, you expect some sort of fighting, like it said,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
about, no, I want that
Like,
baby
I
doll.
want this one.
But
Well,
the
and
fact
the
that they
fact that
both
they-
just went and then
Yeah.
said their own names
Right.
that happened to be the exact
how would
names.
they
Like,
know that?
Yeah, but this you're gonna hate this. So the moment that truly like shook Florence was something that no parent I think could ever forget. So she walked into their room and she actually caught them reenacting the accident.
What?
Yes.
Like
that
how?
had taken their sisters' lives. Like they mimicked everything. Like they mimicked like where the car hit and like talked about like I think the one sister said something like there's like I think she said like there's blood coming out of your eyes or something like
What?
that. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
and it
I would
wasn't.
freak out.
Yeah. And it wasn't just play acting. Like the twins had developed a deep, almost like irrational fear of cars. There was one instant when they heard an engine running nearby and they screamed at the top of their lungs saying, "The car is coming to get us." It was almost like they were having trauma from that day, even though they shouldn't have any memory of it.
Yeah.
Right, and I'm sure that it wasn't talked about.
Right. Yeah, you wouldn't think so.
I'm sure the parents didn't just, like, bring it up.
Yeah. So as they approached their 5th birthday, the vivid memories and these behaviors actually kind of started to fade. So just kind of like over time. But before that happened, their story caught the attention of Dr. Ian Stevenson, who was a psychiatrist from the University of Virginia. and he was very famous for his research on children who claimed to remember past lives.
Oh.
So when the parents heard about his work, they reached out, and Stevenson came to Hexham and interviewed the family and carefully documented like the twins' statements and their behaviors.
And he included things in his notes like detailed descriptions of the twins, naming people that they had no way of knowing or recalling places that had been long forgotten. So he was clearly fascinated, and he admitted that like there's really no easy explanation for this one.
Right. Okay.
All right, so even though there's not any explanation by a doctor, I mean, there are definitely some theories out there. So let's go ahead and jump into those. So theory 1 is reincarnation. So Dr. Stevenson believed that the twins could be a legitimate case of reincarnation. He had studied 2,000 plus similar claims and even noted that like the birthmarks matching the past injuries were a common theme in other cases that he's done.
And then the second theory is like parental influence or unintentional cueing. So this idea suggests that the twins might have picked up on details from their parents or siblings, and maybe Florence or the brothers like mentioned the playground or the neighbors or the names of the toys in casual conversation.
Yeah, but the thing about that is many of the twins' memories involved like very specific details that weren't commonly discussed or even known by the family. So, for example, the exact route to the playground through alleys and shortcuts that they've never physically traveled, and the names of the dolls. Some of these details seem too precise and too consistent to simply be like guesswork or like overhearing parents.
And like if it was mentioned once, it's hard to remember.
Yeah,
Like you wouldn't remember unless
It's a
it's
lot
talked
of
about
things like that
frequently.
And they were 4. So
Yeah.
think about, at 4 years old, you don't remember what you did that morning.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Okay, so theory 3 is trauma absorption. So this is the idea that the twins didn't actually remember their sister's life, but instead absorbed the intense emotions and memories their parents and especially Florence while carrying them after losing Joanna and Jacqueline. So psychologists call
I like
this...
that one better than the first one.
Yeah. So psychologists call this a form of inherited trauma where children pick up on grief, fears, and stories and unconsciously like recreate them in their play and speech. So the twins' knowledge and behaviors might have been shaped by the powerful feelings of their family dynamics and their mother when she was carrying them, rather than like it being a true past life memory.
Yeah. But a lot of people argue that even with this theory, some of the very specific physical details, like the birthmarks and like matching the scar and things like that, are harder to explain. So trauma absorption might cover the emotional side, but not necessarily the physical evidence. And then our fourth theory is coincidence. So humans are natural pattern finders, so we look for meaning and connections in stories everywhere, especially when we're grieving or, trying to make sense of a loss. So some skeptics argue that the birthmarks, the memories, the behaviors, it was just unusual coincidences that felt meaningful because of the family's intense desire to just like find a connection.
I feel like there's too much to be coincidence.
Yeah,
there's
a
I
lot.
agree.
It feels like
There's
just the birthmark.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right, so our last theory goes into more of the supernatural side, I guess you could say. So this is spiritual residue or imprinting. So this isn't like full-blown reincarnation like theory 1, but it's the idea that like powerful emotional events can leave an invisible energy that influences the next generation and shapes their memories and their behaviors. But, I mean... I don't know.
I think that's plausible though too because, like my niece acts a lot like me, and we don't spend that much time together.
Right.
So I do feel like there are some like influences like from family members
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
but I don't think it explains everything.
No, no, I agree. But yeah, but just like most of our cases, this one remains a mystery. But not to you because you're about to give us your definitive
I know.
answer.
Thank
We're about to
goodness
find
I'm
out.
here. What would the world do without me?
All right, Grace.
What is it?
Let us have it. What's your definitive answer?
I am saying trauma absorption and spiritual residue.
Okay.
I think, like, some of it could just be, like, the influence of family members and, like, you know, the sisters' connection. And then I do think some of it could just be, like, there was a lot of trauma in the family and, like, wow, like, Florence was carrying them. So I do feel like some of that, like, maybe the card thing could have been, like, passed on that way. I don't know, though, because I feel like it's too complex. Like, I don't feel like maybe some aspects could be explained one way and other parts of the story could be explained another. But I don't think there's, like, one answer that answers everything.
Yeah. I think I'm interested in more of, like, I'm curious as to looking into the research of what doctors and psychologists, I guess, say about, like, when a mom is carrying babies through a trauma and, like, what that does to them, because it's, like, obviously we know, like, the babies in the stomach are affected by mother's feelings and stuff like that.
Stress.
But it's, like, how much could it really affect them outside of?
Yeah.
Because, like, it was, like, just a few months,
away.
right?
Yeah. I mean, there was that regardless. It's just whether or not it answers this story. But my conclusive response is that it does a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that the dad was behind, like, all of it.
Oh, really?
I feel like just because he, like, as soon as she got pregnant, he was like, I feel like there's something spiritual.
Oh, that's true.
So you feel like it was more of, like, a, not mass hysteria, but, like, a mass, what's that word? Oh, my goodness. Like, delusion, I guess, within the family.
Yeah, and I think that maybe they felt, like, pressure from him. Like, if it, like, if he right away, because, like, even when they were born, he was like, I feel like this is Jennifer and Jacqueline. So, like, if they grew up hearing that.
That's true.
Like, and that's all they ever knew.
So then they might have felt like they had to act that way.
Right.
Or maybe
or
Dad
maybe
was
they
telling
believed
them.
it.
That's true.
And then.
Well, it also makes you wonder, like, how much of this evidence was truly what it was at the very first time it happened, or what was it of Dad making it into a bigger deal than it actually was?
Well, that's my thing. Half of this evidence is hearsay from the mom and the dad.
Well, yeah, what if Dad showed them the toys ahead of time and said, this is yours, this is yours.
Or they don't realize that they had mentioned the toys before. Or,
For
like,
sure.
you know, I mean, I could not tell you what I talked about yesterday. Like, like, I wouldn't be for sure be able to say, oh yeah, I've never mentioned my old stuffed dog Scruffy.
Right.
Like, I could not tell you whether I've mentioned that to my nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
Like, So
well, yeah, and then they just, like, remembered, oh, this is, I don't know, Jacqueline's old doll. I don't know.
But also, like, even the things of, like, oh, they, like, ran to the same slide on the playground. How many slides were there?
Yeah, exactly. How many
I don't
swings?
know.
That's a good point.
How many dolls did you give them to choose from?
Right. Yeah.
But also, like, you're telling me not once you didn't reminisce on Jacqueline and Joanna and be like, oh, remember when they used to play with Mary and Sue and stuff like that?
Or when they used to walk the shortcut to the park. Oh, that was so cute.
Or, I mean, I'm so skeptical that I'm like, he made up, like, half the things.
Maybe it was his trauma response. Maybe he's seeing things that didn't happen.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That, like, this is his way of coping. Because I also read, like, he never went to the graves of the other girls because he was like, they're with us now.
He was convinced.
Yeah. So, like, the poor brothers, too. Like, never.
I feel like they got forgotten about.
They're barely mentioned in the story.
Oh, Liv, I think you solved this case.
Seriously.
Are you going to take my job?
No, it was definitely whatever you said.
No. Yours is way more logical.
Definitely the spiritual imprinting.
Residue.
Well, I said the trauma part.
And the trauma, yes.
So I feel like
I'm very surprised that wasn't already, like, a theory found on the internet, that it was, like, just a trauma response by the parents. Like, I know there was trauma responses in there,
I
but
feel like there probably is.
Yeah. But I think that's good. I think that's really logical.
Yeah. But
I think
who knows? We will never know.
In this
we
episode,
do. You just solved the case.
Liv solves the case.
But
Grace
it's just
is being
not
replaced.
definitive.
That kind of rhymed. Liv solves the case. Grace is being replaced.
So on the next
There's
episode,
something
you get
here.
to guess who's giving the definitive answer.
I know, technically, because I've given it, you've given it.
Oh,
Mom's given
yeah.
it.
Okay, so this was just my turn. I felt
Yeah.
bad.
It's okay. I'll let you have it.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Clue Me In. If you want to dive deeper into the mystery of the Pollock sisters, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review.
Do you think these girls were reincarnated, or were the Pollocks just grieving parents looking for hope? Let us know, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram at cluemein_podcast.
And if you have a toddler and they start talking about a house that you used to live in, maybe just move. I don't know.
See you next time on
Clue Me In.